Testing. All right. You can cut out that other.
Hey, yo, aim. Yeah. Run it up, Blondo.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Central Texas Football Podcast. I'm Kenny Heath coming to you from our worldwide headquarters in Huron, Texas. And as always, we got our buddy Ryan with us. Ryan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, Kenny. How about yourself?
Good. A lot of teams so this is Wednesdays when we usually record, and I guess it started yesterday. Teams started moving their games to Thursday because of the weather, and then a flurry of them happened today, including Whitney.
Yep.
So we're gonna have a short week, and we'll be in Mahia tomorrow night about this time. Yeah, kickoff right at 7:04. So kind of weird, the weather back in the day. You didn't have the lightning detectors and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You just crossed your fingers and hope for the best. And I think the weathermen were probably better back then than they are now. But don't get me started on that.
And it might be depending on where you are in the state, but around kickoff, the kickoff time's around 7:00 on Friday night. It's not supposed to be terrible. It's supposed to be cloudy, maybe with light rain, but it's like towards the end of the games, like maybe we're at the point we're getting to like the third quarter, beginning of the fourth quarter is when it's supposed to start with all the lightning and the heavy thunderstorms and all that. So I think it's a good call, for the safety of players, officials, fans, everybody, to move the games to Thursday night and make sure. And another thing is just giving teams, the best conditions possible so they can put their best effort forward. Because whether you're playing on turf or grass, playing on the rain, for a lot of teams, especially with how offenses are today, they like to sling the ball around. It kind of makes them one-dimensional. So I think it's a good call to move games to Thursday if the weather in your area is looking as bad as it is pretty much all over the state.
Yeah, and we're in the middle of district, so if you're playing a district ball game, a lot of these games mean a lot, and we're going to go over a bunch of them with that's part of our Matt Step question of the day too. You want to get this game in. You don't want to play half of it and have to come back Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning. You want to play the whole game. Now, the downside is, these smaller schools, your sub-varsity teams probably aren't going to play, especially if it's a last-second deal, kind of like Whitney. They canceled all our games.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter's a seventh grade cheerleader, and she was angry. But I was like, it just happens the way it is. So, all right, let's get to it. We'll do our Matt Step question of the week, and I guess you can go ahead and read that.
Yeah.
And we just asked him about a couple of games that we're going to go over. So when we get to that game, we're going to go ahead and read Matt Step's take on it, kind of like sideline to sideline and Coach X. But Coach X is probably funnier, but Matt Step probably a little bit more knowledgeable.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, and we'll start with a question, and like Kenny said, he will just kind of integrate his answers for each game as we get to those games. But our question to Matt Stepp was, no doubt that there are a couple of great matchups in the Super Centex region this week. There are also several games with big playoff implications that include district seeding or just making the playoffs in general. And then we gave him a list of the games that we'll be talking about. And again, we'll integrate those Matt Stepp's takes on those games as we go. And it'll be right off the jump here. Actually, we'll do our Week 8 review first, and then we'll jump into those. Kind of a surprising result over in Bosque County as Early takes care of Clifton, 28-3. Clifton left out of the end zone for the first time all season. Again, it's a solid Early team, but I think you and I, Kenny, at least expected this game to be a lot closer than it was.
Yeah, just I didn't watch the game. They didn't really have a write-up, but just looking at Max Preps, just that defense at Early shut down Clifton. I mean, I don't think Jackson Ritz played in the stats. That's their starting quarterback. That's their go guy. That's their go daddy. He plays quarterback, but he runs the ball a lot. It looks like he's got a brother, Ritz, that played, and just they couldn't get any offense going. Judd New's a good running back, 5 carries for 2 yards. And you look at Early, they just really didn't blow you away with stats. They threw for 144 yards, but just probably an opportunistic type of game where they capitalized on the Clifton mistakes. Kind of surprising because I really thought Clifton was going to get that win and be the favorite in that district. But I don't know what's going on with the Ritz. I do know some people over there, so by next week I'll have if it's you got laws and stuff, but we'll see what's going on with Jackson. He's a heck of a player. I hope he's okay, but he wasn't in that box score, so tough loss for the Cubs.
Right. Early's probably in the driver's seat for that district now because in the district opener back on October 10th, they dismantled Toller 43-14, and then they hold Clifton to 3 in a 25-point victory. Brady, I think I don't think Brady or Eastland are really. I don't know where Dublin's at either. I think Dublin just lost their game against Toller.
I think they're down.
Yeah, so I think
Dublin's down.
Early's probably in the driver's seat for this district. I think Toller and Clifton were probably your two toughest games to open district play for Early on that schedule, and they got both of those out of the way and won both of them convincingly. So I think Early's probably in the driver's.
Well, yeah, Brady's fine. This will be a good game for them this week.
Okay, there you go.
So
the geographical center of Texas.
Yeah, Brady, the heart of Texas. All right, what's next?
Yep. Then we got Gatesville taking care of Lorena 45-21. Lorena not scoring as many points as we've seen them score throughout the season, but giving up about what they've given up throughout the season. They've had defensive struggles all year long, but Gatesville doing a great job defensively. They've shown that they're a solid defense, and they lost to La Vega earlier in district play, 24-7. But that was probably La Vega's, aside from the Salina game, probably the Salina and the Stephenville game, which are both juggernauts, probably their lowest scoring output, at least in district play. And they hold Lorena to 21. A really explosive offense led by Jackson Blanchett held at bay to just 21 points. I think Gatesville, they're real good, man. I think again their only lone loss on district leave is to again La Vega. They lost that game 24-7, and then their biggest game after that they'll be playing China Spring this week, and we'll touch on that game later. But in 2 weeks, Halloween night, they'll have Robinson, and that spot could vary depending on how the Robinson La Vega game goes this week. Could be a fight for the number two playoff seed out of that district, which, as most people would have predicted early in the season, I don't think many people had Gatesville possibly finishing number 2 out of this district. But they played very well so far. They're 6-1. Again, their only loss on the season was that 17-point loss to La Vega back on October 10th, getting right back on track with that win against Lorena last week. Did you see much of this one?
No, I didn't. I read the write up, but I do know that Carson Miller, the great wide receiver, he only played a half, and I don't think their running back Brady DeLeon, he's injured. He didn't play, so they're kind of. I'm guessing the Carson Miller deal was an injury, so the injury bug kind of hit them. They don't have their three guys, that kind of three amigos type deal that they had with Blanchett, Carson Miller, and Brody DeLeon. They're not healthy, so I don't know if they're coming back this week or not, but definitely a big blow that offense, but definitely not going to take anything away from Gatesville. They're playing lights out. Another big game this week that we'll go over, and then they still got Robinson on the schedule.
And then our final game of our Week 8 review, a thriller, as Rockdale takes down McGregor 36-35. Shootout, 71 combined points between those two teams. Probably a little bit closer than a lot of people were thinking. McGregor, most of this district is probably considered down. Aside from Franklin, they're ranked, even though they have a couple losses under their belt, but they're to fantastic teams like Salina once again. But aside from really Franklin, this whole district is kind of down from where we're typically used to seeing these programs. Cameron Yo, a perennial playoff power in the 2010s and early 2020s, down this year. McGregor, it's kind of been a while since they've been kind of a playoff threat, but they're still scoring points. Like they scored a lot against Hillsborough earlier this year, and they've scored some points, but they've had kind of like Lorena, they've had struggles keeping opponents out of the end zone. But again, it was a close one against Rockdale. Rockdale is coming off a blowout loss to Little River Academy, who might be the best. What are they? Are they 3-3 now or 3-4? They might be the best
Yeah,
team with a losing record in Class 3A, and
they're
they'll have a
pretty
big one
good.
this week. Yeah.
Yeah, and you look at this McGregor team who beat Cameron Yo last week and 1 point away. And I
Yep.
believe that's probably a playoff spot if they beat Rockdale there. I think there's a chance because Rockdale and Cameron Yo play each other. If they all
Right.
kind of beat each other and you kind of get a point, I don't know how that's going to work. But yeah, hats off to McGregor. I don't think anybody really gave him a shot at making the playoffs. And like you said, his teams are down. Troy, they kind of when Coach Brashear got there, that they played well the last couple of years. We're going to
Yep.
go over again with them in Little River. So interesting district. I think probably 1 and 2 are wrapped up with Franklin and Little River, but those I think Troy's probably a lot. But that last playoff spot's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think when we previewed this district back in August, we talked about how this district was kind of going to be Franklin, and then 2 through 4 could literally be anybody. But it seems like, and we've seen them firsthand. Academy is kind of risen up out of the kind of the fold there to kind of emerge as that clear cut number 2. So now 3 through 4 could really be anybody because all these teams are beating each other. So it'll be interesting to see how the lower half of those district seeds play out. And then, so we will go ahead and jump into our Week 9 preview. A lot of great games this week. Several games that could very well decide district championships this week. And we will start with one of those possible games. 4-3, Lake Belton with a 3-1 record in district play on the road at Cedar Park, who's also 4-3 with a 3-1 mark in district play. Lake Belton defeated Leander last week 45-0. Cedar Park played on the road last week against Leander Glen and won 52-28. And before Kenny and I give our marks on this one, Kenny had something to say about this one. I love this quote you used here with Matt Stepp. The Lake Belton at Cedar Park, the quote-unquote avoid Highland Park Bowl, which is hysterical. I think most people would take Cedar Park as the favorite, but there's something in me that says go with Brian Cope's Broncos. So, I mean, both these teams are well coached. They're both 4-3, but I think they had pretty tough pre-district schedules, both 3-1 in district play. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Matt Stepp's right. The Avoid Highland Park Bowl is a pretty good name for this one.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Cedar Park doesn't play really good defense, and the one thing that I didn't see last week, one of the greatest quarterback names in the state, quarterback at Lake Belton. I didn't see any stat lines for him, so I don't know if he, maybe a coach, they were playing a team that not very well, but they do have these duos at running back and Dupree and Alexander and Peters and Harness at wide receiver, really good skill kids. And at Cedar Park, David Cooper can sling the ball. Trey Samuel Frost Hill, the law firm, is a running back that's really good. They just don't play great defense. They give up a lot of points, and I'm going to lean towards Lake Belton there.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, both these teams can score points, but I think definitely Lake Belton has had the better offense. And Brian Cope has been leading that program since its inception just a couple seasons ago.
Yep.
And he, I remember having his.
He's had some studs there.
Was that?
He's had some studs there. Selman Bridges at Arkansas.
Yep.
Micah Hudson, who Tech, A&M. Now he's back at Tech. I think he's a kick returner now, so he's getting a little bit of playing time. But yeah, he's had some dudes there, and I'm sure I missed a few, but some talent down there.
Yeah, they've been really good since he's taken over. They've won 4 of their last 5 games, and aside from the 7-point Colleen win, they've won them all convincingly. They beat Leander Glen 49-23, and beat Leander last week again 45-0. But I'm going to agree with you on this one, Kenny. I think again both teams can score points, but I think Lake Belton has a considerably better defense. So I'll take Brian Cope and the Broncos to quote-unquote avoid Highland Park.
Yeah.
And now we'll jump into our next game in our Week 9 preview. 3-4 Dawson with a 2-1 mark in district play will be on the road at Valley Mills. who is 5-3 on the season with a 2-2 mark in district play. Dawson's coming off their bye. They played 2 weeks ago, and I think they were the last opponent for Itasca before they closed their season last week. 2 weeks ago, they defeated Itasca 49-0. Now, again, coming out of the bye week, Valley Mills is also coming out of their bye week as they were slated to play Itasca last week on the 17th, but of course they got the forfeit victory with that deal with Itasca over there. Their last opponent was that heartbreaking loss they had against Bosqueville 2 weeks ago, and that's again we touched last week. What do you see in this one, Kenny?
Man, it's kind of, a Valley Mills team that lost to Bosqueville, like you said, and then a Dawson team that pretty much rolled through Bosqueville. Boatwright's been there since he's a freshman. His freshman year with Coach Thompson, they were slinging the ball 30, 40 times a game. Now they just really run the ball a lot. Boatwright's been there for a while, veteran leader there. And then you look at Valley Mills, you got Jay Sean Johnson, one of the best running backs in 2A in the area. They really lean on him heavy. And that's kind of what scares me. If you use him up too much, that dude, he'll get, he's a big dude, And I think he's used to carrying the ball 25, 30 times a game. But late in the game, you kind of want him a little bit fresh. I think Valley Mills has this one. This game, with the, before we started, that there was a news article that you told me about on Facebook that about Axtell, about maybe they're going to, the district executive committee is going to talk about it.
I think that's what it was. The District 7 2A Division 1.
So, if they've got to forfeit a couple of games, I just don't think Italy's going to make the playoffs. I think both these teams do make the playoffs. Italy's just down this year, but that could really jumble things up. So, this could be a big win if Axtell has to forfeit a couple of games. A win here is going to bump you up maybe in that seeding. I mean, obviously it will, but take you from a 4 or 3 seed up to a 2 or something like that.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about it before we were recording, and the word I used was bonkers about this district. I mean, it all started back in week 2 with all that stuff coming down or week 2 or week 3 again with Rio Vista, pretty much getting accused of the same thing, recruiting players and illegal sheltering, whatever the case may be.
This is the address. Well, yeah.
Right, but
same rule.
Right. I mean, the point is just with all this stuff going on in the district, because then there was Itasca forfeiting their season, and then the threat thing happening in the Rio Vista Axtell game, and now Axtell possibly being investigated by the district committee. My point is this district, it just seems it can't stay out of the headlines.
Turn into a Taylor Sheridan miniseries here. This is like something you'd see on TV and all the different things going down. Yeah, it is bonkers. I think it's a great word for it. It's just what is crazy banana pants? Yeah, it's just nuts.
Crazy town banana pants. Yes, that's he needs to patent that. But going back to this Dawson.
Go ahead. I'm going to continue to ride with Valley Mills.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Valley Mills as well. I think you look at their schedule, the last time they won a game on the field was nearly a month ago, September 26th at home when they defeated Italy 38-0. Since then, they lost to Axtell on the road by 28. Then they had that heartbreaking loss to Bosqueville on the 10th, 28-27. And then they had their win against Itasca. It was a forfeit win. The game wasn't played. So they haven't won a game on the field since September 26th. And this game I don't know if this has been moved to Thursday or not, but it'll either be a October 23rd or 24th kickoff. So almost a month. So I think they're going to be itching to get after this one, especially with the playoff seeding implications here with Dawson starting off 2-1 in district play again with a very decisive victory over Bosqueville. I'm going to take Valley Mills in this one as well.
Yeah, being at home, and they play well at home. Yeah, I'll go Valley Mills on this one.
Moving back up to Class 6A, 7-1, Colleen Shoemaker with a 3-1 mark in district play will be on the road that's important to keep in mind here. On the road against Copper's Cove, who is a surprising 5-2 with a 2-1 mark in district play. They just got Shoemaker just got their third district win at home last week against Bryan, one of the bottom teams of the district, 42-19. And then Copper's Cove suffered their first district loss on the road last week at Harker Heights, 36-16. Again, Copper's Cove has kind of been a surprise this year. We kind of figured they'd be, one of the few teams in this district that didn't make playoffs. But I think there's a good chance if Copper's Cove gets this win against, or even if they don't get the win against Shoemaker, that game next week, or maybe later in the season, not sure if it's next week or not, it would be next week at Temple, could very well decide the fourth playoff seed out of this district.
Yeah. I don't know much about Cove. They don't put a whole lot out there. The Waco Trail doesn't cover them. But I know Shoemaker's got some straight ballers.
Yeah.
Dude. Like Jamal Polite Jr., I saw him against University just make tremendous plays. Their quarterback's really good. Damani Addison. Step talks about Brandon Brown Jr. in his little recap. Willie Thomas is another running back. So those dudes, Shoemaker's loaded. There's a lot of talent on that side, on that offensive side of ball, offensive side of the football. I'm going to go Shoemaker in this one. And, I think Step, earlier in the year, we asked him about this district, and he thought Copper's Cove was going to be the odd man out, and I think I'm there with him. I think Shoemaker's just too much for the Cove.
Yeah, I agree as well. I'm trying to see. Yeah, and Step talked about this game, and this is Matt Stepp's take on Shoemaker at Copper's Cove. Cove has been a real surprise this year under first-year head coach Rodney Southern. That name sounds familiar. I feel like he coached at a big time program, at least while I was in high school, about six to 8 years ago. But regardless, Rodney Southern, but him turning programs around shouldn't be a surprise. So he does it at every stop. Shoemaker's Brandon Brown, like the guy you mentioned, will be the best player on the field. I lean to the Wolves of Shoemaker, but that Cove versus Temple game next week will decide the final playoff spot. So Matt Stepp agrees. I think this will be, I think looking ahead to next week, I think Cove and Temple will definitely, be the fight for that final playoff spot out of this crazy district. But yeah, he did say he likes Shoemaker. I like Shoemaker in this one as well.
Yeah, I just think they got too much firepower. A lot of good players on that Shoemaker.
I agree as well. And then we will move on to our next game, moving back down to Class 4A, as we'll have 2-5 Lorena at 2-5 Connolly. Both teams, again, 2-5 with an 0-2 mark in district play. Lorena lost to Gatesville at home last week, 45-21, like we mentioned before. Connolly lost by 14 to Robinson on the road last week, 41-27. And Connolly's in a tough spot here. They started the season off 2-0, but now since then they've lost 5 straight games.
Yeah, I think early on in the year you thought Connolly would be fine, before the season started. And after Lorena beat Malakoff at Malakoff, you thought, man, this Lorena team is something else. And they played a 4A D1, really good land passes team to a 1-score game. And I think the injury bug has kind of hit them. Like, if they're healthy, I think they win this game. But if DeLeon's not playing, if Carson Miller's not playing, I don't know that they win. I don't know that the Blancett and the other supporting cast can score enough points. You look at Connolly, they probably got the best athlete player in the district in Jamari Vincent. Going to Baylor. Braden Ford's a really good running back. Caden Kaufman's thrown for a bunch of yards this year. They just can't get it together. Just can't. Either they're in. They've got injuries or they're just playing tough teams. But they're 2-5, 0-2 in district. And man, this is this game right here. Both these teams might not make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but it's an important game because if you've got to win this game to make. No doubt about it. To win this game, and I think if Lorena's healthy, if they've got DeLeon back and Miller back, I think they win. But if they don't have those guys, I think it might be the edge to Connolly.
Yeah, and again, Connolly hasn't won since week 2, back on September 5th. So almost for just about 6 weeks since they beat Lago Vista 22-6. They're still looking for their first district victory. But like you mentioned, in this 5-game skid, they played some tough teams. Grandview, Alvarado, Athens, China Spring, and then last week, Robinson. So, I mean, they haven't been losing to scrubs by any means, but I think they just – some of these games, like the Grandview game was close, the China Spring game was close. So they're kind of been chomping at the bit. I don't know what the health status of everyone at Connolly is either, but, I mean, they got to – if you're Coach Garrick, you got to be like, okay, we've lost what we've lost. We've dug ourselves in a hole. This is if there's a get right opportunity here, it has to be this game, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
To get a playoff seed out of this district for either one of these teams, they have to win this game. There's no question about it. It has to be done. But I think I agree with what you said. If Lorena is healthy, which I'm not sure if they are, I like them in this one as well, in a close one either way. But if they're not healthy, then and that's kind of what it's looking like right now. We don't know what the extent of these injuries or why some of these star players for Lorena were sat out. But if that is the same case this week, then I might have to take Connolly to finally get a win. Again, they've been itching. I think they're way overdue to get their first win. I like Connolly in this one. And then Matt Stepp had a writing for this one as well. Two teams, and this is Matt Stepp's quote again, two teams that have disappointed, in my opinion, this year. A win doesn't guarantee that you make the playoffs, but a loss pretty much does eliminate you from playoff contention. I expect a lot of points in this game, and I'll give the very slight edge to the Cadets at home. So he also has Connolly winning this one, but again, like you said, I'm with you, Kenny. If Lorena's fully healthy, then I like Lorena, but we're not sure, so I'm just going to have to go with Connolly, especially when you consider the fact, they've lost 5 straight games now, and I think they're due for a win, especially with this kind of scenario, trying to fight for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I don't want to pick because that's the way I feel. If Lorena's got Dillion and Miller healthy, I think they win. If not, then it's Conley. All
right. And then what could be the game of the week, not only in Central Texas, but across the entire state.
Oh, yeah.
7-0 Chilton, unbeaten in district play, against 7-0 unbeaten in district play Bremond. A fantastic game. Chilton is coming off a dominant 47-10 victory over Frost. And then kind of a surprising result. Not surprised that Bremond won, but in the way they did it, 47-0 shutout on the road against a really solid Goldthwaite team. Bremond has shut out 4 of their last 5 opponents, and they've been putting points on the board. This is an exciting game. I think this is kind of what we all expected in this district, what it would come down to. But dang near perfect scenario. Both teams fully unbeaten towards the end of the season. A clear-cut winner wins the district type game. What do you see about this one, Kenny?
Man, Chilton's just going to run the ball down their throat. They got the quarterback of Minerco Thomas. The running back Xavier and Taylor went for 250 or 300 last week. They don't throw the ball a whole lot. Bremond plays great defense. Tank Scott's going to play both ways. He's going to run the ball, and he's one of the better linebackers in the area, probably one of the best in 2A. Just a ball-playing dude, as they say. And, Sam Kozowski is a coach's kid. He's a sophomore or junior. Started as a freshman. It's going to be a banger, man. I would like to watch this one. Yeah. I'm sure it got moved to Thursday. If not, I'll be tuned in, or the weather's right. Yeah. I may try to. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Chilton. Just the way they can run that football with that 2-headed monster. DeCorian Evans has got a few snaps, so that's the kid that was really good when he was a freshman, got hurt as a sophomore. Right. I don't know if they're easing him back in or he just can't get playing time because Xavier and Taylor is playing so well. I'm going Chilton on this one. I think I'm going Coach Hewitt and the Chilton Pirates.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn on this one. I think both teams play really good defense. Chilton has given up 22 points all season. They gave up 12 against Hearn and then 10 last week against Frost. And weeks 2 through 6. So yeah, their second through 5th game or second through 6th game of the season, they shut them out. 46-0 Italy, 37-0 Marlin, 14-0 against Goldthwaite. So that's kind of the measurable there is with Goldthwaite. They won 14-0, and then Bremont beat them last week 47-0. Mart beat them 34-0, beat Hubbard 70-0, and then Frost by 37. Both teams play excellent defense, but I think again, Bremont has given up more points, but they've scored more points too. I think these teams match up phenomenally. I think it'll be a great pairing. Like parity across the board with all positions. I think they line up really well. I am torn on this one, but I like Bremont. I think Bremont gets the win here. Definitely not saying it just to go against Kenny, and hopefully I'll be right. Maybe, who knows? But yeah, I think this will be a fantastic game and one of the games of the year, no doubt about it.
Yeah, it's going to be. It's definitely a marquee game across the state. Everybody will be paying attention to this one. Two great Super Syntex teams battling it out. Should be a great one. Just good stories on both sides. Monerco Thompson, they wrote up a story in the Waco Trib about. He's an excellent basketball player. Led, I forgot what one of the Killeen schools to the tournament, but his dad's a coach,
Ellison.
And his dad got a job. Ellison, yeah, his dad got a job at Chilton, and he wanted to go play. Didn't play football before, but he wanted to go play football for his dad. And
yeah,
I think that's one of the ways that the whole transfer. That's where you get it right. You let a kid go play, football for his dad, and so Xavier Taylor's done well. Tank Scott is Tank Scott. We've known about him for the last couple of years. Same with Sam Kozowski, and there's There's a lot more kids on those teams that are a big part of the team, and it stinks because we just look at offensive stats. And I think if we're around a team daily, then we could tell you about who their right end is and the plays he made, but we just don't cover them that much, or I just don't have that much time, honestly.
Right.
But great teams. Every kid on each of those teams should be proud of where they're at, and this is just one game. I think both these teams are going to go do some heavy damage in that region, and they'll probably see each other again.
I agree. I think that this has one of those makings of being a situation where these teams play each other twice during the season. It should be a fantastic game, and I'm with you, Kenny. If this game has not been moved from Friday to Thursday night, this is the game I will be fully tuned into, no doubt about it. But that's one of the fun things about having. What's that?
Somebody needs to broadcast it if it's not already being broadcast. Somebody go do some Facebook Live or something.
Someone, please. But it's definitely one of those games I'll be in tune to. That's the nice thing about Whitney's game being moved to Thursday night, since we'll be have a night off from the booth, so to speak, on a Friday night. Since the game will be Thursday, it'll be nice to be able to kind of just sit on the couch and maybe have 2 or 3 Texas high school football games going on at the same time. So that'll be a lot of fun to see. Yeah. But yeah, it should be a fantastic game. Can't put it over enough. If you have a means to go to this game or keep an eye on it, it'll be one of the games of the year. Unbeaten Chilton at unbeaten Bremont. And now we'll move back up to Class 4A. As China Spring at 2-5, 1-1 mark in district play will be on the road at Gatesville, who's 6-1 on the year, also with a 1-1 mark in district play. China Spring lost at home to La Vega last week, 38-17, and Gatesville defeated Lorena at their place last week, 45-21. Again, we touched on a little bit earlier. I really like this game. It's on the road. I really like Gatesville. They've been really good. They've been really good defensively. They held Taylor to 15, Glenrose to 7, Mejia to 6, McGregor to 12, Burnett to 9, and then their one time they gave up points was against La Vega, but again it was only a 17-point loss, and they gave up 21 to Lorena last week, but scoring 45 in the process. China Spring has. After winning their season opener against Franklin, they've lost 5 of their last 6 games. They won their district opener against Connolly back on the 10th. 28-20 before losing last week against La Vega. What do you see in this one, Kenny?
Man, Gatesville's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, Gary Keaton, Cy Burns, their running back, he stepped in for their other injured, their single game rushing record, most yards. Amos Phillips is a great receiver, and he plays really well on defense. Jackson Knapp, the quarterback for China Springs, kind of been nicked up. Talked to somebody over this, and he's healthy. He's ready to go. Krishan Gregory is a great Central Texas running back. The kid can really go. They got a big return from Dre Bledsoe last week. But I just don't think it's going to be enough for a legit top 15, top 10 type team in the state in this 4A Division II. And I think it's going to be kind of like last year. But they're not going to sneak up on anybody. Last year they went, I think, three rounds deep. And I kind of expect that this year. They're a really good ball club. First-year head coach, I forgot his name. I think it's a Gary. He's done a fantastic job. And I just don't think China Springs quite there yet. They've got some really young guys coming up that's in the feeder systems in the JV that, from what I'm hearing, are just excellent ball players. So just not quite there for China Spring. I'm going to go Gatesville because I think Gatesville's a fantastic football team. Really didn't dive into them early on in the year. The last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been watching more film and watched some games, and really good football team.
Yeah, I like Gatesville in this one as well. I don't think it'll be a blowout by any means, but I think they win comfortably, maybe 14 to 17 points, something like that. So I'll take Gatesville in this one as well. And another potential district championship matchup. And then again, Gatesville may have something to say about it, but 2-0 in district, 6-1 overall. Robinson on the road at 5-2, also unbeaten, 2-0 in district. La Vega. Robinson coming off a 14-point victory at home against Connolly last week, 41-27. La Vega, like we just mentioned, defeated China Spring on the road last week, 38-17. Is this the district championship, Kenny?
Oh, yeah, for sure. La Vega's defense has always been good. Probably not as good this year or last year as it has been in the past, but still really good defense. They're real young. They've got a freshman I saw on the Waco Trib podcast. They were talking about there's a kid that's a freshman on their defensive line. La Vega's left tackle, they call him Zeus. The dude is he's really good.
Yeah.
And, of course, you got KJ Park, quarterback. I consider him pretty underrated. The kid can sling the ball. He's really tough in the pocket. He can take a hit. He can throw it. Of course, you got Jabari Thornton, the former Oklahoma State commit, who's the coaching change. They've got plenty of firepower over there. If you look at Robinson, Marino, and McCurdy, they're probably, golly, so good.
Yep.
Marino's rushed for tons of yards. Every game he's rushing for 250 or 200. Yeah. Bryce McCurdy, we know about him. He's a 3-star, 4-star, plenty of offers. He can sling the ball. He can run the ball. Medlock's the wide receiver. I just think the difference in this game, they both got firepower. They both got playmakers, but just those interior line at La Vega on the defensive, offensive side, I think that's the crucial part of this game, and I think they got the advantage there. So I'm going to go La Vega in this one.
Yeah, I like La Vega in this one as well, but I think both, like you said, both Bryce McCurdy and Evan Moreno are going to get theirs. I think this game's going to be a shootout. La Vega's got a solid defense, but Robinson's offense has been off the charts, especially in district play. Again, their only loss of the season was back in pre-district against a really good Alvarado team, and since then they've won 4 straight. They've been pretty dominant overall, 48 against Hillsboro, 17 against Lorena, and then 14 last week against Connolly. But I like La Vega in this one as well. But, I wouldn't be too surprised if Robinson went into Belmead and got the win there. But I think La Vega at home, and I think they're better defensively. Although I think Robinson will score points, I think La Vega will probably keep them at arm's length for the majority of the game as they can score points themselves, like you mentioned with the great quarterback and KJ Parr. I'll take La Vega in this one as well.
I said I would go watch Bremont Chilton. Bellamy's a lot closer to my house, so I probably would go watch
Yes, it
this
is.
game and keep up with the other game. But this, yeah, if you're in the Waco area, this is the game to go to if you're in town.
100%.
The Vega Field's right there off the loop. You got all these fast food joints. You
Yep.
got several different places to eat there. Some local places that are great as well. Yeah, that would be a great night going up there and watching this game because I think it's going to be tremendous. Maybe 10-2. I mean, I think La Vega by 10 would be okay
Yeah.
to pick that. But man, yeah, this is another great one, and I think I think people statewide are looking at this game, and because we talked about La Vega's a top 10 team, they're ranked.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about Gatesville, probably a top 10, top 15 team. Well, Robinson's right there with them.
Yeah.
Robinson was ranked earlier in the year, I think, and I think they got beat by Alvarado. Maybe
Yes.
was it?
Yes.
And so it kind of knocked them out. But they're a top 10 type team. So basically got a top 10 battle here right in Waco and North Waco. It'll be a great one. You're going to have star power all over the place with McCurdy and Parr, Marino. La Vega kind of does a running back by committee. They've got 3 or 4 dudes that'll run the ball. But Jabari Thornton, Caden Rowland on defense is a stud. They got a really good defensive lineman. I forgot his name. A defensive end. He plays on the right side a lot. So star power, great football, fun night in Waco.
100%. It'll be a great game, and yeah, like you mentioned, it is closer. So, who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll make the trip out there. 5-2
I'm lazy
overall. Maybe I might want to have the lazy night in, just watch it on TV. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think Dave Campbell's might cover that game. Not entirely sure, but it wouldn't surprise me. They Texan Live over there. They're growing their coverage every year with all the games they cover.
Yeah.
But we'll move on. Staying in Class 4A, 5-2 Salado with a 3-0 mark in district play on the road against 7-1 Gerald. 3-1 in district play. Are the Gerald Cougars. Salado coming off a 14-point victory 2 weeks ago at Wimberley as they're coming off the bye. And then Gerald lost to that same Wimberley team on the road in a shootout, 35-34. What do you see in this one, Kenny?
Well, doing research, really haven't talked about these teams a whole lot this week or this year. Salado, if you look at their stats, I think they've had 4 different quarterbacks attempt over 50 passes. Last week, they had a kid play quarterback that I didn't see any stats for, but he was really good. He could run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They got a good running back in Luke Bingham and a pair of wide receivers, Danotsky and Merriman.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go look at Gerald, and it's all about Johnson. He's just a tremendous running back for Coach Allen Hare and that slot TB or whatever. I don't know. It's a run-heavy offense, misdirection and all that stuff. I'm really leaning towards Gerald because, when and it may be a one-off, but when Little River came in and played Salado, Brian Grissom ran the ball 30 times for 150 yards. He's a big type back. And this Kenneth Johnson, he's just something else. And I just think Salado's going to have a hard time stopping the run. And I know that Gerald lost to Wimberley and Salado beat Wimberley. But I just got a feeling that Coach Allen Hare and the Gerald Cougars, I think they're going to win this one, and Kenneth Johnson is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, and Matt Stepp also had a write-up for this game that he sent to us earlier for the Matt Stepp question of the week, and his answer, again, quote-unquote, Salado at Gerald, another game that's going to be real pointsy. Gerald had the tough 1-point loss to Wimberley last week, and that slot T offense can be lethal. Salado quarterback Devontae Foster is something special, and after that early loss to Lampasas, the Eagles have been soaring. Give me Salado to take a major step towards the district crown. And yeah, this Salado team, like we mentioned, I saw a little bit of film earlier this season kind of preparing for the Little River Academy game against Whitney for the broadcast because Salado had played Academy earlier in the year and lost by 13. Yeah. And they've won 3 straight games since, all in district play to start off 3-0. 1-point win against Lago Vista, 6-point win at Geronimo Navarro, and then the 14-point loss or win at home last week, or 2 weeks ago before the bye, at Wimberley. Coming out of the bye with a 3-0 start, could be a mindset thing as well. Coming out of the bye, and then Gerald coming off probably an emotional finish, an emotional result last week, losing by just 1 point against a really good Wimberley team, 35 to 30, or what's usually a really good Wimberley team, 35-34. I'm kind of torn on this one, but I'm with you. I like Gerald in this one. I think since they'll be at home as well, they have not lost at home this season. Their loss against Wimberley last week was on the road. So in the 8 games they've played, only 2 of them actually have been at home, and they won both of them. So this will be their first home game since back on September 19th against Lano. So not only is it their first home game in over a month, but it's their district home opener. I like Gerald in this one as well, Kenny.
Yeah, so I went back to Max Preps and looking at this. Devontae Foster's, who started at quarterback last week, he's only played 2 games this year. He's thrown for 321 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he's rushed for 243 yards and 3 touchdowns. And he was there last year. He's a senior, but I don't know if he's coming off an injury or maybe they just don't update their Max Preps. But I went back and looked at a couple of games after, and I just didn't see any stats for him. But in Steps right, he's a good football player.
Yeah.
But I just, it may be a different Slato team with him in there because they did beat Wimberley with him starting at quarterback. But I'm still going to go with Gerald. I think Kenneth Johnson's the difference.
Yeah, I like Gerald in this one as well. And we will move back down to Class 3A Division 1. Troy at Little River Academy. Troy, the Trojans, are 4-3 with a 1-1 mark in district play. Academy is 3-4 overall with a 1-1 mark in district play, and that 3-4 record is very misleading, as this is a very good ball club. Brian Grissom, quarterback. I think it was Brody Smith, I believe was his name at quarterback, or Brody Allen. Brody Allen was his name. He was really solid as well, especially on the ground against Whitney back in week 6. Again, we've seen this team firsthand. Troy has had a tendency to give up a lot of points, as they won actually at home against Cameron Yo last week, 42-24, and then Academy lost to Franklin on the road last week, 64-14. But I think again Franklin's the clear favorite in this district. Probably run the table and take that number 1 playoff seed. We've seen this Academy team up close and personal, Kenny, and I think I mentioned it at the top of the show. They might be the best team with a losing record in 3A Division 1. Again, because when you look at their losses, they're 3-4, but their losses are to, again, Franklin last week. They lost to Connolly earlier in the season, a 4A team. They've lost to Lexington, a ranked 3A Division 2 team. They lost to Burnett, which is a 4A team, before rattling off 3 straight wins against a really good 4A team in Salado. And what is in the driver's seat for the District 5 title in 3A Division 1 in Whitney. They beat them by 19, and then a 34-point loss against win against Rockdale before getting the 50-point loss to Franklin last week. I like Academy in this one, Kenny.
Yeah, I do too. The running backs in this game, you talked about Brian Grissom, but Jaden Lucky over there at Troy.
Yeah.
He's a junior. He started as a sophomore and just tore it up. Then you got Hunter Fryman at Troy replacing McMurtry, that was their quarterback for a couple of years underneath that Brad Shoe system. Cohen Ketchum kind of took over for his brother, Reed Ketchum, who's a great little wide receiver that was super quick. I think this game will have a lot of points scored. But man, I'm just after seeing what Brian Grissom can do, and Brody Allen can run the ball too. He can throw. He's a good thrower. He's got a couple of weapons on the outside he can get to. I think a high scoring game, and I'll go with Little River just because the Grissom kid's tremendous. I forgot about this, but 2 years ago, the starting running back at Temple now is Cavalli Neely. He used to be on this Little River Academy, and he started as a sophomore. And he was tremendous. And, they I think that's the year they beat Columbus or Hitchcock or somebody, a really high-ranked team in the first round. And imagine that team if Neely was still here. But Grissom's great. Brody Allen's a really good quarterback. Hunter Fryman, he can sling the ball too. And Jaden Lucky's a tremendous running back. They're both going to have probably big days, and I think it's going to be high scoring. But I think I agree with you. Little River's just going to they got the edge in this one, in my opinion.
Matt Stepp had some insight on this one as well, and quote unquote, Troy at Little River Academy. That's from Matt Stepp again. Tepper loves this game. He was at Little River Academy yesterday, passing through and took some pictures at John Glover Stadium. More points to be had in this game. I think Little River Academy's strength of schedule stands out here to me, with wins over Whitney and Salado standing out. Give me the Bees. So Stepp, Kenny, and I are all in agreement that Little River Academy gets the victory in this one. Academy, they might finish the season. Again, they have Troy. They have McGregor at home next week, and then they close the season on the road at Cameron Yo. Probably going to be favored in each of those games and possibly finish the season 6-4, which is fantastic after starting off 0-3. And I think playing that tough pre-district schedule really helped them out with that. That'll be really good. They'll probably win out and get the number 2 seed out of district play. So, we will all take Little River Academy in this one. In our final game of our
real quick. Coach Coon's doing a good job over there, but this is probably going to be their last year in 3A. They've got, I think they were close last year, and from people I've talked to, it looks like they're going to be bumped up to 4A next year. So that looks like they'll be in that district maybe with Salado and Gerald. That'll be fun to watch next year because I think this team's just going to be. They're going to lose Grissom, but this team's just going to be. I think Coach Coon's doing a good job. They'll get better.
I think so too, and the UIL snapshot numbers come out soon. I believe. I think they come out on Halloween Day,
31st.
Yeah, come out.
Yep, Friday the 31st.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that and see where these teams end up, and it's kind of the first kind of little step or precursor for UIL realignment because that will come out in February, which is always an exciting time. We will definitely have a UIL realignment show once that comes about in February. But I think Academy probably is on the cusp there. We'll see where the snapshot numbers end up. But, Academy could very well be looking at their last year in 3 Division I, at least for this current realignment. But we will now move on to our final game of our Week 9 preview, and again, should be a good one. 7-1, Lampasas with a 1-1 mark in district play will be on the road at Stephenville, who's unbeaten on the season, 7-0 overall. They won their district opener on the road against Marble Falls last week, 65-7. Lampasas got their first district win last week as well, defeating Burnett at home last week, 28-23. This game will be played again at Stephenville at the brand new Art Briles Stadium. The records match up here pretty good, but I don't know. Stephenville's looked dang near unstoppable all year long. I like the Yellow Jackets in this one.
Yeah, and this game kind of lost some of its luster with Lampasas losing to Brownwood. I watched Lampasas play Lorena Thursday or Friday.
Yes.
Maybe
we watched that.
Yeah, I think they scored on their first 2 or 3 offensive plays of the game. They've got a pair of running backs and Wesley Stevens and KJ Reed. Very good running backs, but they just don't have the firepower to keep up with a team like Stephenville. Stephenville went out and beat a Louisiana powerhouse in Ruston, Louisiana, a couple of weeks ago. A team they lost to pretty bad last year. So I'm going to go with Stephenville. We talk about Stephenville; they're having a great year.
And
that get on board, but it'll be a Stephenville.
In that battle, they'll have their big rivalry game at Brownwood next week. What's the name of that rival? I know it's a road name, but the number escapes me. 377, yeah.
Highway 377.
Yeah, the battle 377 will be next week at Brownwood. But we'll see how that one goes. You never know with rivalries, but with Stephenville, again, they've been dominant all year long. I think their closest game was the game you mentioned 2 or 3 weeks ago now. against Ruston, Louisiana. They won 28-12, so 16-point victory in that one, and that's their closest game. And I believe that's Ruston is in Louisiana's highest classification of like one of their biggest schools in the state, and they're definitely one of the football powerhouses. And to win that by 16, their closest game against a team from Texas was back on the season opener at Midlothian Heritage, where they won 28-7. And since then, they've been dominant. 45-0 over Everman, 45-6 over Godley, 52-13 over Abilene Wiley, 36 over a damn good Waco La Vega team. Against 16 points against Ruston, Louisiana, and then a big district win to start off by 58 points against Marble Falls. They've looked virtually unstoppable all season, and I think they got a chance to win out. Stephenville, I think it might go without saying, but I think they're a perennial state championship contender in Class 4 Division I.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no doubt about that.
All right, you want to do some quick hits?
Let's do it.
Hillsboro at Benbrook.
Give me Benbrook if they're healthy.
Godley at Fort Worth Dunbar.
Ooh, should be a good matchup. Give me Godley in that one.
Life at Alvarado.
Alvarado, big time.
This one's for me. Whitney at Mahia. I'll go Whitney. DeLeon at Ballinger.
Give me the Bearcats. Well, they're both the Bearcats, aren't they? I think Ballinger is also.
Yeah, they're both. This is the Battle of the Bearcats.
Okay. So the maroon one's DeLeon. Give me DeLeon in that one.
Meridian at Mart.
I like Mart. Mart to get that one. Yeah.
Clifton at Toller.
Man, this should be a good one. Both these teams, again, losing to early. Again, we don't know the status of Ritz for that one. If Ritz is healthy, I like Clifton, but we're not entirely sure. So I'll take Toller to get back in the win column.
All right, let's go Hewitt at Killeen, or Midway at Killeen.
I like Midway in that one.
Palestine Westwood at Tig.
I like Westwood. I like Westwood by 2 to 3 scores on that one.
Heiko at Coleman.
Ooh. Give me Heiko. Give me the Tigers.
Hamilton at Bangs.
Hamilton big.
Hubbard at Frost.
Give me the Polar Bears to get the win on this one.
Sorry, I had a phone call. Let's go Bosqueville at Italy.
Give me the Bosqueville Bulldogs.
Undefeated Lexington at 6-2 Blanco.
Ooh, should be a good one. I like Case Evans and company though. Give me the Eagles.
Let's see what's other interesting. Grandview at Maypro.
Ooh, another rivalry game. I like Grandview though in that one. They got right last week against Groesbeck big time. I think they did the same thing here.
Here's an interesting game. Fairfield at Dieball.
Interesting.
Now Westwood just snuck by Dieball last week like a 3-point game. Mm-hmm. So now they got Fairfield.
Yeah, and Westwood has Westwood played Fairfield yet? They've not. They'll play them next.
No, that's next week.
So, and that will probably be the district champion which Westwood getting by Tig, Fairfield trying to get by Dieball. If Fairfield beats Dieball, which I think they do, then they'll set up a district championship game next week against Westwood. Give me Fairfield to win so that we can set up that Westwood Fairfield district championship next Friday night.
All right, let's go Crawford at Moody.
Give me Crawford, Coach Robinson and company.
Rosebud Lot at Bruceville Eddy.
Battle of the hyphens. Give me Brandon Hicks and the Rosebud Lot Cougars.
All right, Franklin at McGregor. Poor Bulldogs.
Next game, no, I'm kidding. Yeah, definitely Franklin.
West at Groesbeck.
I like West. West big time. Yeah.
There's some things going down at Groesbeck. They may not have a lot of their players on the roster.
Right.
Let's go Rockdale at Cameron. Yeah, this is interesting.
This is another rivalry game, kind of on that Highway 77 corridor. I like
This
Rockdale.
one's called the Battle of the Bell.
Battle of the Bell.
They share a
that's
bell
what it
that they
was.
take.
It's a big rivalry game in Central Texas. I like Rockdale to win in this one. Both teams are very
All right,
evenly
Marlin
matched, though.
Marlin at Riesel.
Ooh, I like Riesel. Give me the Indians.
Oh, that's it. All right, man.
All righty. Great games
Well,
this week. A lot of rivalry games.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of great games, and we got the 2 marquee games. That's kind of why I wanted Steps' input on. Hey, not a whole lot of people are going to be looking at this nationwide or statewide, but man, there's some really good ones that are going to determine a lot going forward, as they do this time of year. But yeah, thanks as always for Matt of the week.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thank you to the sponsors. Thank you, Matt Stepp. Thank you to L4 Media and Sideline to Sideline. We appreciate you. Have a good week. And partner, any parting shots?
Be careful if you're going out on Friday night with the weather, with the games. Be careful driving home because it will be wet outside. But if you're able to, go out and watch some good football. A lot of great games this week. Even the ones that weren't on our docket, there's still a lot of great games out there, a lot of district championship games, a lot of rivalry games. So, as always, get your tail out there and watch some football.
See ya.
Daddy says the farm won't live long without me, but Lordy, sometime I think we ought to just let it die. 'Cause I've seen half a Lubbock gone. Hood of my car, always the midnight northern was blowing south. If I tried to fly that way, they tell me I won't get far. I got half a Lubbock tying me down, and my older brother and his ex-wife and neighbors down the road, they say there ain't nothing better past the sign. Well, they might be right, might be wrong, might be blowing smoke. I guess I'll find out when I cross that county line. 'Cause I've seen half a Lubbock gone, hood of my car. Always midnight northern was blowing south. If I tried